So Rachel, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time. Rachel is currently a one-star diamond, but is about to top and be at four-star qualifying, which is something that she's gonna have to talk to me more about because. And Sarah, and for any new coach understanding what that means is she's got three new diamonds or maybe some old ones, who are rocking it, who are seriously showing up in their business and are moving forward, which is something that as a team we are working to understanding how to do and doing it. So I'm just super excited that I met Rachel at NLC, which is New Leaders Conference, and that is a great next step for you at any new coach here to achieve. And all that meant last year was being a one-star diamond, which is crazy, right? Wasn't that kind of like a crazy cool qualification that they allowed for us? But it's an event that you really don't want to miss. It really helps move your business forward. So I'm going to stop talking because I'm super excited to hear what Rachel has to give us, and take it away, girl.
Hold on, I'm going to shut my door so my husband
don't take it away yet. Hey, Jordan.
Okay, so I'm super excited to talk with you guys. So actually, as of right now, like Noel said, I've been a coach for 3 years, and up until this Wednesday, I'm actually a lower rank than I have been 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was a 2-star, and I opened up a second CBC, and that should be everybody's goal. Sometimes people get stuck on their goal is diamond as their finish line, and that should be your start line. That is when my business really took off. And then I really was concentrating more on income versus rank. I wanted both, but income was more important to me. So I had 2 diamonds. One was my husband, and one was a coach who has since quit. So then I got my second CBC to diamond very quickly, and I let my husband's go back to emerald for about 2 years, and just really focused on that second CBC, and which was then my living diamond. So I was actually invited to New Leader Conference 2 years ago, but I had just had my son, so I couldn't go. So they let me go last year, which was really nice because that conference is life-changing. That should be everybody's goal to be there. So then, because now on Thursday, I'll go into qualifications for 4-star. I'll go from 1 to 4-star. I got my husband back to diamond, my second CBC. I popped another diamond all on the same leg, of course, a couple of weeks ago. And now one of my girls, who's actually been a coach for 2.5 years, that I've been like, come on, is going to go diamond, which has been, I'm going to tell you guys like these action steps that have really taken my business into the mentality of being an emerald factory. I don't say that to my girls, not like, okay, we're an emerald factory, I'm just worried about cranking out emeralds. No, but I do call it our emerald mastermind, because that's really what you want, is you want to be able to duplicate things in your business. And once I understood that, things have just been clicking left and right. Because when you paint the picture that only leaders can do these certain things, that's where the disconnect comes in, because not everyone is going to duplicate everything that you're doing. So you want to set things into place that is easily duplicable. So and a couple of these things I've just recently started, but they've already been game changers. So one of the things that I do is I have a group for working coaches all in my downline, and we call it the Emerald Mastermind Group, and they log their activities in a spreadsheet. I have little goals that they're set to hit, invites, workouts, PD, things I want to see what they're doing. And then they plug that in throughout the week. And then this is a separate Facebook group from my team page. And then they can ask questions in there. They can ask questions in a thread. And I live and answer questions once a week. So it's kind of like a team call, but not as like strict, it's more in my schedule. And they rate themselves on their productivity. And it's kind of cool to see other people call themselves out, because then I don't have to, which is really ideal. So I put all my working coaches in there, and then it's been really awesome because then I really hype up when people go Emerald in that group. I'm like, look at Ashley, like she was killing it last week. She's at Success Club already, and she just went Emerald. Like, she's open for business now. She can start collecting a check from the company just based on, that team cycle bonus. You're a business now. You're not just a salesperson. So doing that has been like probably the biggest game changer ever for me. And my girls like rave about it. And then once they have either 4 coaches in their downline, or they're like religiously hitting big numbers in Success Club, then I add them to like a group text, like a leadership group text, and we Zoom once a week, in person once a week, and they do the same thing but in person. Like, they rate themselves, they log their activities in a spreadsheet, and they get my one-on-one attention for a couple of minutes to ask something that they need help with. But all of those things are great for building my team, but I concentrate still like 80% of my time on my own business. And I do work full time, so I'm like disciplined AF when I am working, because I don't have a lot of time in my day to devote to my business. So when I say I work 2 hours a day, and I've built a 6-figure business, like, that's legit, because I only have 2 hours a day to work my business, and I have a baby. So some tips I have for productivity is that we all have the same 24 hours in a day. You get to choose what you do with them. Some things you can't help, of course. Like, I can't help that I'm at school from, when school starts to school ends. But I can use my lunch hour every day, which I do. I can listen to PD in my car when I'm dropping my son off. And when I'm working on my business, I'm freaking working. And then when I'm teaching, I'm teaching. I'm not checking my phone. That's why I love my Apple Watch. I'm not wearing it right now. But then I can get like texts about, like from daycare and stuff that I need to see. But I'm not like getting distracted by notifications or anything. That's been because I would. Like, I have a notification on my phone. Like, my instinct is to check it. So I turn my notifications off, especially for like my chats. Like Facebook Messenger, Instagram messaging, no. Like, I do all that when I'm working. Do not ever feel like you should or need to answer messages on the fly. And this has been, I always remind my team of this, because everyone is like so drawn to do that. And I go through spurts where I'm drawn to do that. I like when my inboxes are at 0. I really do. But when you answer messages on the fly, it depicts like a message to people, whether you mean to or not, that if they were to coach, they would have to be at other people's beck and call 24/7. And that's not sexy at all. So when you set business hours and you are only responding to messages when you're working, that's sexy, because you're saying you are it's a serious business, and that you are being present with your family. Like, you are not on your phone 24/7. That's not sexy. Nobody is attracted to that in the business. Like, oh, like, I would love to spend even more time on my cell phone away from my family. Like, nobody wants that. So that's always been like my policy, and it has served me really well. And I still, with that policy, some people think like, oh, I got to close the sale ASAP. No, you don't have to do that. I am very strict about that. I only answer messages once in the morning, maybe at lunch if I get to it, and in the evening. So max 3 times a day. And if I don't get to everybody, they can wait. And I still average like 70 Success Club points a month with that policy. So it is not only doable, but I think it's vital for like success in this business. What else was I going to say? just be like, and when I'm working, like I really try to leave my phone in the other room or like, and I focus on one task at a time. So when I'm doing follow-ups, I'm like cranking them out. And the fortune is seriously in the follow-up. If you're not following up with people, that's like the first thing that needs to be ramped up, because again, you're putting an emphasis on the fact that you care about people's goals when they've expressed an interest. If you never follow up with them, it puts out there that you are invested in their goals. It's not annoying, it's not, but it's necessary to show them that like you care about their goals. Those are like my really big things. And I just really run my business in a super basic way. Like I do follow-ups, obviously my workout and Shaco and pretty much everything else, all the other things. PD in the morning. I try to do as much as I can in the morning because the day gets away from you so fast. So like when I work, I just work really hard. And now it's really nice with the social media algorithms that we don't have to post a zillion times a day. I don't know how long you guys have been coaching, but when I started, it was like 5 to 8 times a day. It was horrible. And now like 1 to 2, I'm like, oh, I have so much time. Like, it's so great. I'm like, oh, I have so much to say. I can save it, for a different day. It's so nice. But those are like my really big game changers. But I'd love to answer like specific questions that you guys have about it can really be about anything. I'm like an open book.
Rachel, that's awesome. So can we like peel apart some of that, because you have your coaches here. Also, I'm sorry, one coach is having a crisis, and it's life, so it's good. So I don't, if you don't mind, thank you so much for giving us your time.
Not at all.
So as we're peeling apart your day, when you say you work really hard, what does that look like? Is that like power pockets? Is that like, what are the behaviors you're focusing on? Like, what are the numbers that you're focusing on? Things like that.
So I wake up and my first priority is my first priority is always me. I think that's so important that we always need to be like selfish first and work on yourself. So before I do any sort of work, I always do my workout and usually some sort of PD, especially with 80-day obsession. Those workouts are long AF. So I like to put on some PD while I'm working out. So it's, already know the moves. So most of the time. So, PD, and then I'm like focused, like I'm in a good headspace. I got my workout, I'm good. And so then I always knock out my follow-ups first, because for me, I won't feel like my day is complete until my follow-ups are done and my invites are done. So I don't start answering any messages until I've done those two things. I've done my invites and I've done my follow-ups. Not in that order. Follow-ups and invites is what I like to do.
So when you say follow-ups, is that meaning people who've expressed interest before, or is that answering?
Yeah.
Okay. It's just interest.
People who have expressed interest before and have not messaged me back. They need me to reach back out to them and see if they are still interested. And I follow up a total of 7 times before I say bye-bye.
Cool.
And then the rest of the time is spent doing other things that I mark things on my calendar. Like I had this on my calendar, and I have my team call on my calendar. I have, my leadership mastermind on my calendar. Oh, I do a new coach kickoff call instead of one-on-ones, GSRs. I don't do those. I just do group ones 2 times a month. So I have those on my calendar. I have those things on my calendar because otherwise I will forget, and like things will get missed, and I have to prioritize my day. Like if messages go unanswered, it's okay for 24 hours. Okay. And so that's how I focus my time.
What about like your new conversations and things like that?
I do have a virtual assistant because I do work full time. So she handles all of my new conversations for me.
Cool. That's awesome. That was something I was looking to. Okay. So there's certain things that you're delegating. So how is that going to transition once you leave your job? Like, what's your kind of plan? Because like for someone like me who works full time from home, and we've got some other moms who aren't on the call who'll watch this later.
So I kind of got to practice with that this week because I was on spring break, and I basically see it happening the same as it is right now. I did sleep in a little bit on spring break, but I really don't plan to do that when I'm off. I put up by like 5:30, 6 o'clock because I'm really the most productive in the morning. And I don't honestly plan to work any more than I was or am now. I plan to still work 2.5 hours a day, 3 if, the odds are in my favor with the baby's nap. But I really want to just like keep that freedom that I've built and have less stress and anxiety without my full-time job, but still be able to have the freedom to enjoy my life that I've worked for, to be able to, because I don't want to leave my full-time job to then work full-time at home either. I really still want to paint that picture for people I'm recruiting that you don't have to be willing to give up all day, every day to make this work.
Awesome. So I don't know if you guys have any questions specifically, but like Sierra and I were actually talking right before the call, and one of the biggest things that I think new coaches struggle with is that invite, is that transition. So can you share like what you teach your coaches or how you're inviting, things like that?
So something that a lot of my coaches are in one of Josh Coates' training right now. And he was saying that, and I do work with him right now as a one-on-one client because I was really stuck in my rank and I was really frustrated. So I made that step. But anyways, he has said that you should move to an invite within 4 messages to somebody. Because what if you don't? What is your inbox going to look like all the time? If you're starting 20 new conversations a day, 10, 20 new conversations a day, what is your inbox going to look like in 2 weeks? It's going to be crazy, and you're not moving anybody towards a sale if you don't invite them. So I try to get to an invite as quickly as possible because 2 things. 1, I'm not sacrificing a relationship. I build it off of the first message that I'm connecting with new moms or pregnant women and we're building a relationship, but I also want them to know that I do have a service to offer. So I start with a question like, do you work out too? I want to know if they already have a workout routine they really love, if they're looking for help, or if they absolutely hate fitness and I have no idea why they liked my page, So I start with that, and depending on their answer, I either straight up invite them or I plant a seed. So I might say, well, just keep in mind, I do host virtual boot camps on a monthly basis if you're ever interested. Yeah. So then I leave that like kind of out there. And sometimes people are like, oh, what's that? Like, and they're interested. Boom, we're in. We're talking towards a sale. Other times people are like, oh, okay, great. Thanks for letting me know. And that's fine. And they can just like follow me and it plants that seed. But then other times I'm like, I just don't make it weird. I just like don't overthink it. And I'm just like, I'm serious. My boot camps are awesome. So I totally want everyone to join my boot camps. They're so fun. And so I say, girl, you should totally join my boot camp. Done. Invite done. Check. So I just don't make it weird.
Yeah. I like that you said that. I just don't make it weird. So something that I really admired from when I met you was like how comfortable you've been on Instagram. And you were sharing with me some of the Instagram, what are those services that you've been using, and I've been playing around with them that help you increase your following. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
Guys, if you have questions, like talk. I have a bunch of questions.
So I use right now, I've tried a couple. I've tried BuzzFollow, and right now one of my coaches is having a ton of success with a service called Social Bloom. So I'm trying that out. She's really she's great at Instagram. Her name is Gina Kish. Mm-hmm. She's adorable. She's awesome. And so she was teaching me about that, and I'll basically do whatever she says on it about Instagram. And then you can set it up. I like that you can set it up for targeting for area and interests. Something that I think is really challenging right now because Beachbody is basically all in on Instagram, and there's so many of us coaches that I have found that hashtags are super saturated with coaches. So this is what I tell my new coaches too, and this is what I do, is I prefer to find my like people I want to follow and like recruit and stuff. I go into username accounts, like accounts between like 10 and 80,000, and just scroll their followers list and see who sticks out to me and screenshot that. And so I'm searching usernames based on my niche. So like baby bottle companies, I have a baby, or I love Lululemon, so like a smaller Lululemon account. I had a couple of other examples earlier for my girls, but anything
like
for your
blogs and stuff that you might follow, like lifestyle bloggers.
Right. Exactly. And then you can find people that look and act like you and like start from there. I think that's way more successful than going through hashtags.
Yeah. Because that's honestly, that right after NLC, I was doing that and I was like, this is exhausting.
Yeah.
And then you find like, I have like a million tone it up people, and like those people are their own little cult.
Right.
So
they are.
Which it's great. I mean, that's what they're doing with Instagram, but it's just like,
right.
Find another one of these girls. Okay, so do you guys have any questions? Because I have a few more, but I need to take a break.
Yes. So you were talking about the algorithms on Instagram. I have no idea what you're talking about there. You said it used to be different. You posted like 7 times, 8 times, and now you only post twice, and somehow it's like even better now.
Because Facebook and Instagram, just basically all social media, changes the way that they want you to use their platforms, and they'll either reward you or they'll punish you for doing it correctly or incorrectly. So it used to be that Facebook wanted you to be posting like a ton of times a day, like really using Facebook, and then they really wanted you to use live videos like every single day. And that's kind of changed, and now they don't want you doing those things. So they think it's spammy. So they want you to be posting like great posts 1 to 2 times a day and engaging with people on your page.
So like asking questions and recommendations, things like that.
Say that again.
Like asking questions and recommendations.
Yep.
Like that.
Yeah.
So how do you find out stuff like algorithms? I think that's another thing that Sierra is asking.
I just research it. That's important to my business. So I read a lot of things or pay attention to other people's trainings on that. In my like way upline, like anything I have access to that has something to do with social media. And then now I put it on while I'm working out or getting ready or something, because that is really important to my business.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Mm-hmm. I was going to say something that Rachel said was Josh Coates. He does a lot of great social media and branding and Beachbody. Works a lot with Beachbody. I did one of his trainings last summer, and that really helped me get into a new rhythm with posting. But a lot of the stuff that he said back then is totally different than now, because that was when he was saying like do live video every Wednesday and then this. So if ever you guys are interested in anything that's like social media, Instagram, like become a student. That is the best thing you can do. And what I used to do 4 years or 2 years ago is completely different this time. And that's what's really cool, I think, about coaching.
I do too. I think it keeps it fun, and we're always learning. So it just keeps it like, it's always fresh. Like, and I always say like, you can never like claim ignorance. Like we have the internet. So everything is like searchable. It's always findable. It's not a word, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
Something too that you had said that that I'm really working on is when it comes to Instagram or posting in general is the fact that we're only posting 1 to 2 times like quality stuff. So when you started coaching, you weren't a mom, but you are now. Like, how has your brand evolved, and how do you share that with your new coaches?
I think your brand like kind of evolves with you, because but sort of not. It just depends on your passions as well. So I'm obviously not, well, it's not obvious, but I'm not pregnant anymore and I'm not breastfeeding anymore, but that is my niche. That is my brand, because I'm really passionate about helping moms in their pregnancy and in breastfeeding, because that was really successful for me. And I plan to revisit that time in my life. But So I think knowing your like top 5 interest lists that's been covered on the National Wake Up Call a few times. Just like those are still like on my interest list. So you're just sticking to like 5 things and posting about those things all the time. So instead of like my son isn't breastfeeding, but so now I share like what he's doing for his baby food and stuff like that. So it might be a little bit different, but it's still relating back to those like 5 interest things. That's your brand. My brand used to be, and sometimes we want our brand to be something that it's not. I really want my niche to be like tired and broke teachers, and it's not. I do not attract a lot of teachers. I just don't. And I would love to, but I just don't. And I can whine about it and like keep trying, or I can work with the people that are attracted to me, you know?
Yeah.
And so that is what I try to teach my girls too, like pay attention to the demographics of people that are liking and commenting on your posts and see what those people have in common.
Nice. A post that Rachel did that I thought was hilarious was how she talked about how flat-chested she is again.
Yeah.
Not breastfeeding anymore.
Yeah.
Big thing.
So, yeah, so it still relates to my brand, but yeah, it's funny and it got a lot of engagement.
So one thing that you had also said earlier was how one of your coaches, it has been a coach for 2 years and now she's a diamond. How did you, because a lot of times I feel like in this business with a lot of my mentors, they're like, you know, bless and release, like they'll come, like how did you guide her or coach her when, you know what I'm saying?
So she definitely, and this is kind of tough because she's part of my family.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I was going out. So, sorry, it's my fault. Go ahead, finish your question. I missed the end.
That was it.
Okay.
I stopped speaking.
Okay, sorry. It was my internet. So she's my family too, so it's kind of tough, but we're related. But so I just kind of am able to gauge where people are at, and she had like stopped hitting Success Club and all this, and so then when I knew I needed to do something else different, like so it was hard for me to wrap my head around because I do not have a direct upline that mentors me. I just basically figured out everything on my own, which is fine, but then I just didn't have that like lead by example being taught to me to duplicate to my team. So I had to like I resisted it for a long time. I was like, that's not getting me to where I want to be. So I had to change my behaviors. So what I did was started putting people in little like groups based on the goals they wanted to hit and I wanted them to hit, and working more closely with them and doing more like face-to-face through Zoom, you know, things so they had more of my attention. That even if it's something like so small, like sometimes them just being able to say it to me can help them get over it. And even though I might have the same advice that they already know, just hearing it from me sometimes makes the difference. Cool. So when I started those, my like leadership mentorship, I want to call it, I guess, is when I started seeing a lot of my girls. I have a lot of girls one coach away from Diamond, like 4 or 5 other girls. Yeah. And they were not close 2 months ago. Yeah. And we've been doing this for this little group about a month. Yeah. And them being able to hold themselves accountable and be able to have that like interaction with me and each other has been the game changer, because everybody wants that little community.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely. Jordan, did you have anything that you wanted to ask? You always have questions.
Nope, you actually pretty much asked what I would probably ask her.
Good.
Tonight, I'm sorry, I have sun.
I feel like there's one thing that you had told me this week that I meant to ask Rachel.
Me?
Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago. I wrote it down somewhere.
And if anybody thinks of other questions, they can always ask you, and you can message me.
Oh, here.
I'll answer anything.
I remember. So, do you have like in your calendar times when? Because this is something that I've been trying to work on with our team. Is like making a calendar for when to invite for our accountability groups, which we have, but then also when to invite for coaching. Because you said you have 2 new coach calls, right?
I don't schedule that in my personal calendar because I don't need to. I am disciplined enough to just do the things I know I need to get done. But I have like the target numbers in no matter which group they're in, one of the 2 groups that they're in for working coaches. So they know that they need to be doing those things every week. So it's just kind of on their own time, but I don't schedule it.
Well, I think because I feel like that is something that, I'm talking to you guys now, that would be really cool to do. Because I've done like Success Club pods and everything that I've done okay. But that would be really nice to have like a Emerald Mastermind. So I feel like that is a really great takeaway. So thank you so much for talking with us, Rachel. It means a lot. I'm glad that I met you and I met one of your coaches.
Yeah, I know. It's the best.
It's so cool. So thank you so much. And I'm going to totally keep picking your brain because I think you're great.
Yeah, anytime, girl. You know where to find me.
I do. All right. Bye. Thank you guys for hopping on.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Selfie.
Gotta take a selfie. Hold on. I'll get my phone up.
Noelle, you just smile.
Wait, what?
I'll take
Screenshot.
a screenshot.
Oh, screenshot. Okay, everyone smile. Bye. Okay, good. All right. Thanks, Rachel. See you later.
Hey, of course, guys.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Bye.
You too. Bye.